back to 1999. I was applying for a job at a greenhouse. It was a pretty large outfit, like 40 acres of glass, like huge multi-million dollar company. And the person who had got me the interview, he said to me, he's like, "Oh, meet me at the front gate at this and this time." So I met him there, and he came. He I'll never forget it. This is before I started cycling. He came up on a bike, like this old, like just pedal bike, and then he had another one. He was holding another one that had no rider on. He's like, here's a bike, jump on it." I was like, "Oh wow, I haven't ridden a bike for years," but of course it's something you never forget. Got on the bike. I thought he was taking me to like the person I had to have the interview with, who would be in like a corner office. He was like the important person. He drove me with that bike all the way through the greenhouse out to some back area. And he's like, "Here's the boss. This is the guy you got to talk to." And what was the boss doing? He was hoofing plants faster than anybody else. And this is the guy that owned the whole place, right? So that to me was like a huge life lesson. Like, it doesn't matter what your status is, how much money you have. Like, the way you lead well is to just be with your workers and work harder than them. Show them what it is to work hard and what you're doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, he did that for every day that I worked with him. I was there for 12 years, and he was always the one who wanted to be there first, and he was working hard, and he did it to the glory of God. Like, that's why he did it. And you really get to know someone when you're with them like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was similar to the experience I had on the Terry Fox ride, where like Daryl, like a guy like Daryl, I mean, he's been working for 40 plus years at advancing this mission of his brother Terry. Like, we need to raise money and find cures for cancer and find different treatments for cancer. And but he's out there every day on his bike trying to lead and show everybody that we can do this. And man, I bike to Regina. That's only 1/4 of the way across our country. Like the rest of them, they bike all the way to Newfoundland. Crazy. Over 7,000 kilometers.
Leading by example, obviously, is really big. What happens, and have you seen it in your lifetime of church leaders teaching or saying you should be doing a certain thing, but not doing it themselves, and what that does, the impact of that?
Yeah, I think that's one of the bigger problems that the church faces, is especially when it comes to retention of youth, right? Youth can spot hypocrisy like so fast. So that's definitely, I think, one of the threats, if you will. Like, if you do a SWOT analysis on a church, like that's one of the threats, that people who are, whether they're in like official church leadership, like have an actual office within the church, or they're just senior members who have status in the right way, like they're longtime members and people look up to them. If they're not leading well, and their example their daily walk with the Lord doesn't match what they might say in church or at a church meeting, then people see that really quickly. And unfortunately, the default often is to not deal with it, but to just leave and go find another church, which they'll probably see the same problems that it may be manifested in a different way, but they're going to be there too. So I think that church leaders have to be very careful that it's not expected they live a perfect life, but there has to be consistency for sure, right?
I think especially also openness or vulnerability of their failures that they do have.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you only see perfection from your leaders, that's also not reality and something you can't ever attain to.
Yeah.
And I often think that most Christians, if they would have been part of writing the Bible, they would leave out that, Noah got butt drunk naked,
mm-hmm.
or David sins, or Apostle Paul, or Peter went back to works-based salvation, way after Jesus had died and after he had been made right of denying him. Because I think if we forget that part, then
totally,
we're going to give the impression that if you want to be a Christian, you better have it all together, and sin grows in the darkness.
Yeah, it's a challenging topic for me. Like, I haven't been in church leadership for almost 5 years now, and I think the entire COVID experience really put a magnifying glass on this topic that we're talking about, like how to lead well and be able to, or willing to, live by what you said. Right. And during that time there were a lot of church leaders who were unwilling to they were unwilling to oppose what the government said in a way. And I noticed you guys had a podcast recently where you talked about, I think, respecting authority or obeying authority. I don't know if that was with government authority or it was just authority.
Can't remember.
Okay. Anyway, the whole aspect of civil disobedience was a huge part of those conversations, right? Because churches, many of them felt that no, they had to keep worshiping. Like, who is the state, the government, to close a church down? So there was an unwillingness to have the courage to remain open and continue calling God's people to worship, even if it was in a smaller number and spaced out, and doing your best to acknowledge the very real threat of COVID. I know people personally who died of COVID. It's not some fictional thing, like it was a real thing.
Yeah.
But then, so there would be decisions like that, like, no, we're not going to disobey the government, we're staying closed, etc. And then there would be these other conversations about, well, we'll just get together in that barn over there, or we'll just have a shop over here. Or so like a willingness to kind of to do that, but do it in a sneaky way and not have the courage to just call the church to worship. So that was, I don't know, for me, it was sad. It was frustrating. Sometimes it was infuriating, but it really, I don't know.
You obviously can't see into the future, but do you see more of it coming? Like if I look at Canada as a whole, hey guys, if you enjoy that episode and were blessed by it, would you be willing to support the show? That would help a lot in creating more content, improving the quality of the content, putting the production value, getting more guests on, and me being able to spend more time and energy towards it. So if you're interested in doing that, you can click up here and it'll take you to a support page. But you can also subscribe to the podcast by clicking over here and doing that. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.